Tonight we have the first announcement for our lovely next core set, being Phantom Nightmare, and it is brand new Yubel support, and let's get into it. First up, we have Spirit of Yubel. It's a fiend effect, attack 0, defense 0, and you can only use the 1 and 2 effect of this card once per turn. The first effect is when your opponent declares an attack with a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is special summoned, you can either add to your hand or set to your side of the field one spell or trap card from your deck that lists Yubel in its card text. Third effect is if this card cannot be destroyed by battle and you take 0 battle damage from battles involving this card. And 4, if this card is destroyed, you can special summon one Yubel from your hand, deck, graveyard, or banished. This is a great start off to the new Yubel support, and I'm very, very excited to see what is next because there is quite a lot to go over with 6 other new cards. Next up, we have Geistorch Golem. It is a retrain grinder golem, and it's a fiend effect with 3000 attack, 300 defense. You can only special summon one Geistorch Golem per turn. The first effect is you can reveal one Yubel monster in your hand, special summon this card from your hand to your opponent's side of the field, then you can special summon the revealed monster. Once per turn during damage calculation in a battle between this monster and a Yubel monster, your opponent gains 3000 life points. If you special summon a Yubel while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card to your opponent's side of the field. This is actually a very, very funny card, and it can be very scary during times, so I definitely do enjoy this, and it's definitely going to be I believe a one-of staple in the deck later on. Next up, we have a card retrain of Samsara D Lotus. It's a fiend effect, attack 0, defense 0, and you can only use each effect of this card once per turn. You could tribute this card, special summon one Yubel monster from your deck. Already off to a strong start, being able to summon a Yubel monster from your deck. During your opponent's turn, if a monster effect is activated and your opponent controls a Yubel monster, you can tribute this card. That effect becomes destroy one Yubel monster on the field. And during your end phase, if this card is in your graveyard and you control Yubel, you can either add this card to your hand or special summon it. Overall, this card is very solid and good, and I cannot wait to see how people manage to make this deck interact with your opponent, because that seems like the goal of this whole entire new archetype. And now the cover card that I've been waiting for, Yubel the Eternal Love Watcher. It is a dark, level 12 fiend fusion effect monster with 0 attack and 0 defense. Materials is one Yubel monster plus one monster on the field, so it is a super poly usable target, which I really do like. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. 1. If this card is fusion summoned, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each monster used as a fusion material for this card. So you can do up to 12 monsters. That is insane. This card cannot be destroyed by battle or effects. Also, you take no battle damage involving this card, a staple to Yubel, and at the end of the damage step, if this card battled an opponent's monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the monster's attack, and if you do, to banish that monster. This card is super strong for a fusion monster, and I really do like it. Very strong in the battle phase and just by summoning it normally. So this is going to have a lot of implications later on with how this deck is going to work. Next up, we have a continuous spell called Nightmare Pain, and you can only use the following one effect of this card's name once per turn. During the main phase, you can destroy one dark monster from your hand or face-up field, and if you do, add one card from your deck to your hand that is Yubel or mentions it in its text. If you control a Yubel monster, your opponent monsters must attack Yubel monsters you control if able, and damage you would take from battles involving your Yubel monster is inflicted to your opponent instead. So hammering in more that you must attack Yubel and only Yubel, and your opponent has to be cautious and get rid of this card as soon as they can, so they don't lose during the battle phase, which is quite amazing. Next up, we have a retrain to spell Chronicle as in Mature Chronicle, and it's a continuous spell card that you can only use the following effect 2 of this card with this name once per turn. The first effect is each time you special summon a Yubel monster or a monster that mentions Yubel, place one Chronicle counter on this card. You can remove 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 Chronicle counters from your field, apply the appropriate effect. 1 is special summon one Yubel from your graveyard. 2, add one banished card from your 1 banish card to your hand, 3 banish 1 card from your deck, 4 destroy 1 card, or 5 add 1 super polymerization from your deck to your hand. Being able to search Super Poly is super strong, especially in this deck. Being able to summon out something like Yubel and then just super polying your opponent's board away, which is super, super broken in a deck like this, especially with the new fusion. But I wonder what this last card is going to do. And the last card we have is Eternal Favorite. It is a continuous trap card, and once per turn you could choose one of the following effects to activate. You can only choose each of the effects of the card with this name once per turn. You can either special summon one of your Yubel monsters that is in your graveyard or banished, and neither player can activate cards or effects in response to its special summon. If you control Yubel, discard 1 card, then send this card in the spell and trap card zone to the graveyard. Fusion summon 1 fusion monster from the extra deck by using monsters from either field as material, including 1 Yubel monster. This card overall is actually very good, and I think it's definitely another 1 or 2 of the deck. But I want to know what you guys think about this new Yubel support and overall how you feel about it. But anyways, I've been Bolt Spider. See you guys in the next video, and goodbye.